welcome to Heather and Hops, my little corner of the internet where me as a very new knitter discusses things that I've done, my process, how it's worked out, and yeah, generally a bit of knitting chat, I guess. Locally there's a little bit going on, but I've unfortunately had a funny few months and I've actually been quite busy, which is nice, and I haven't been able to get involved with our local knitting community. So this is also, as well as a way of documenting it for me, seeing how my journey's evolved, it's also a way of me connecting with all of you lovely knitters out there. So maybe grab a cup of tea. I forgot mine today, weird. As you can see, I've still got wet hair and my colour has changed, which is the first time in a very long time. Side note, I used to be really into MySpace. I'm heavily into music, whether you could tell or not, doesn't matter. And I've taken years to grow my hair out to its natural colour, and this is a semi-permanent, and it's been kicking around my house for probably 4 years, so I thought I should probably use it up. Quite enjoying it. So yeah, let's get into knitting chat. I do have a couple of finished items. One I did not expect to be finished, and the other, yeah, I'll just crack on. So they're not so thrilling. So I made the pattern up myself for this pretty much. It's a basic vanilla sock, and these are a pair of socks for my other half. I dyed up the yarn myself. It is a combination of a little bit of acid dye and a bit of old gel food colouring, where I have, yeah, I used to bake for a living, and I do have gels that I'm never going to get around to use. I'm really pleased with how these have turned out. They seem to fit really nicely, and he has asked to have them for Christmas instead of being gifted them early, which is really sweet of him, bless him. The only thing about this is, so if you've ever got the train from London to Birmingham or to Milton Keynes, you'll recognise this colourway, and it's basically the same as the London Midland or London North Wales? London Northwestern or something it's called trains now, but basically it looks exactly like the colour of the seats, which isn't a problem really. However, my other half gets on that train and has got on that train to commute for nearly 6 years, maybe it's more than that now, but 6 years of commuting, and it's his least favourite thing basically on the planet. There's not many things that he dislikes more. So although he really likes them and they're quite fun, unfortunately they do match the train seats, and if he wears them into work he might look like a bit of a lemon, but I know he's a bit like me and he doesn't really care. But yeah, very pleased with these. I actually knitted them 2 at a time, which was a revelation. No more second sock syndrome for me, I hope. Fingers crossed. Yeah, so there you have it. 1 pair of socks. Done pretty swiftly actually. Now this one, my other finished object, I can't believe that it's finished. It took me 8 days from start to finish. I'm recording a little bit sooner than I would normally, but 8 days. 8 days. I mean, I did put time in, but I also did 4 full days of work, so those days I did not get to knit a single row. I finished my Christmas gift for my mum. Mum, don't watch. if you found this, which would be incredibly strange. I finished it. I finished it completely. I'm so chuffed with this. It feels, I mean, it's drops, which I know there's quite a bit of controversy around, if I'm honest, just from seeing Ravelry, and the patterns seem to have been borrowed. And it is superwash, and like I say, I'm not sold on the idea, but my mum will not hand wash a jumper, it just won't happen. So It feels absolutely gorgeous. It's got a lovely drape to it actually, which mine doesn't have quite nearly as much, and when it's on, it hangs beautifully. I'm really pleased with the floats in this. I mean, can't really tell, but I think I've done a pretty alright job for what, September through December, September, October, November, four months of knitting, and I'm pleased. I'm very proud of this one, and I'm pleased that I've got a beautiful gift to my mother this year. She does deserve it, and I think she is knitworthy. As long as she likes how it feels on, I don't think there'll be a problem with this. I'd be very upset if I spent as many hours as I did knitting something, although it didn't take that long, and it wouldn't be worn, but I'm sure this is going to get worn. Again, I did modify it quite heavily, so I think it was, I did the colourwork chart until maybe the middle of chart D, which is here, and then it's a bit, you know, I've had to make it up as I went along. And then I joined it on the sleeve. It doesn't actually look that bad, it's just the way it's folded. And then I did a straight stocking neck because I wasn't convinced that she was going to wear the ribbing either, and finished it off with just a little 1x1 ribbing on the end. I also omitted the final increase at the end because, again, it was already wide enough. It's definitely plenty for me. My mother's a little bit taller, but not much bigger than me at all, so I thought that would be perfect, and that is that. Yeah, very happy. Just to clarify, this pattern is the Ninilchick Swancho by Caitlin Hunter, which, if you knit, you most probably know her. If you don't, definitely have a little look at her work. I will probably do a MKII talk and talk more about probably more Caitlin Hunter projects that I would like to do next year. Beautiful designer, well written, like for me, very easy to understand, being a novice that I am. And yeah, very pleased with myself. I have 2 finished objects and a couple of whips. I think that's everything. Yeah. So, my work's in progress. I'm gonna show it anyway. I'm not that chuffed with this, but hopefully, my sister Charlotte, Lottie, if you're watching, go away. I love you dearly, but don't look or it'll ruin the surprise. So this is one of the other projects that I've been working on lately. It is a jumper for my sister. Again, I'm not that chuffed with this yarn, to be honest, because it's acrylic for a start, but again, like my mum, it just needs to be able to go in the wash. I dyed up, I'll show you. So I'm working on a very Ron Weasley-esque jumper for my sister. She's a very big Harry Potter fan. I've made this up pretty much. I used the cast on count at the top, the same as my, it's my Jennifer Steingass, I think it's a Tracer jumper. So I used the same stitch count at the top, but I've completely repurposed it. So I've done a big C, which I've knitted out of, it's the Black Yarns Jacob that I dyed myself. This is not very, ignore the lovely sound of the needles clanging everywhere. Yeah, it's sort of a bluey green. My sister's got bright blue hair, so I thought this would be perfect. I haven't put all that much time into it, but it's coming along quite nicely now. I started the sleeve last night, so hopefully I'll have one sleeve off maybe by the end of the day, and then I'm working Wednesday through Sunday this week. I do have Saturday off, so hopefully I can get a big chunk of the other sleeve done next Saturday, and then it will be finished, which would be wonderful, because I mean, it really isn't the sort of thing I really want to be knitting. Sorry about the clanging. So I'm using think it's Women's Institute Premium Acrylic. But there seems to be some, I can't remember what they're called, nips? Are they nips? No, neeps. I don't know. But the tweedy bits, there seems to be quite a lot of just tweed bits left in. And I'm sure that's not meant to be the case. It's not the end of the world, like I said, because it is meant to be a Ron Weasley-esque jumper. What are you showing through for? So really this should have more imperfections than perfections, so the yarn's helping me out further there. Yeah, it's gonna be, so that's that. Have I got, oh yeah, I've got a nice little bit of red here. Shh. So that's, once that's done, that's all my gift knitting for this year. I will plan, so I use a bullet journal type thing. Oh, here comes Audrey, 1 second. Come on. Oh, come on then. You coming? You gonna make an appearance? Yeah. Oh, who's that? She's like, no. Go on, sit up there. So I decided to do a bit of a naughty, and I purchased some yarn, and I have cast on a jumper that I've really wanted to cast on ever since I saw she had released it. And it is the Turtle Dove by Spastrico. I've not done all that much, but I cast it on 2 days ago, and I'm really excited for this. It's grey, so it's very plain, no colour work, which I think this is the first knitted jumper that I've done without colour work. Can that be right? Yeah, it is, so it will be, which is nice because I am a bit of a plain clothed person. I like a bit of colour, but I do quite like a pop of colour with a lot of neutrals, so yeah, this is coming along nicely. It's also my first raglan knit, which is also exciting, and I think because of the shape that it's designed with, it's going to fit and feel really nice to wear. It's a bit oversized, quite boxy, but quite a nice shaping to the sleeve increases. So I'm really excited for this one, and I've got a feeling that I'm gonna make another one. I mean, I'm only this far along, but I've got a couple of old jumpers that are turtlenecks that I would really like to replace. I do have a mustard one that I'd like to replace, and I think if I can get more of this yarn, I'm not sure how it will wash, how it will wear, but it does feel lovely. I will get some of this in mustard and probably cast on a mustard version very soon into the new year. So that is my Turtle Dove. Like I said, I'm not very far into it, but it feels lovely. And I am knitting it out of Juniper Moon Farm Stratus, yeah, in the colourway Black Diamond. Tap it, make it work. Yeah, so you can see that now. That is colourway in Black Diamond, and it is a medium grey, I would say. And you can see it's almost like an I-cord, or like a cord. Hopefully you can see. That's more like it. And it is quite a blend. It is so lofty. It does feel really nice to work with. It's 60% wool, 10% yak, 10% nylon. No, 10% alpaca and 20% nylon. I got this quite heavily reduced. I think it was just on Wool Warehouse, which, you know, I was quite excited to have a really lofty blend. I'm not sure that I'm ever going to be able to afford Woolfolk to knit my Turtle Dove in, so I thought I'd at least try this because, again, I'd never made a raglan. I've never knitted a plain jumper. So we'll see, but I'm quite convinced I'm going to love this jumper when it's done. Yeah, so that is my turtle dove, which so far, again, I would really recommend it as a pattern for someone that is new to knitting. It's beautifully easy to read, it takes you step by step, and there's different options, and it's free. I can't believe she's offered it for free, but it is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Ooh, let's show you this one quickly. So I do have a few acquisitions, which I'm quite excited about. I pre-ordered this. Now this is a little bit fangirly, I guess. So the week I decided to invest in some yarn and some needles, I discovered Kate Davies. I didn't realise quite how much of a big deal she was, but I sent her a message asking her basically how to get started, what was my best port of call, and she responded very, very kindly, and I believe it was her that sent me a message back. It was very, very nice, but included a link and suggested maybe getting a reference book. So I pre-ordered Kate Atherley's The Knitter's Dictionary, and it's already proved very, very useful. It's a really, really, really useful reference tool. It answers a lot of questions very, very clearly, very concise, and I mean, I kind of wish it came out before, but I pre-ordered it and it arrived in the store last week. I pre-ordered it with Waterstones, I believe, but it's got everything. I'm not going to go through it and show you, but everything from I-cord, how to do jogless stitches, cabling, lace, make ones, everything. Just the different types of constructions of sweaters. Like when I first cast on my turtle dove and realised it was a raglan, I quickly flicked into here, checked out what it said, and it was incredibly useful. Highly recommend this book if you're a knitter and you're new. I mean, even if you're what's the opposite of new? Well established? That is so not the right. If you're a pro, if you're a professional knitter, this still might be a really, really handy little tool to refer back to. How to slip stitch, colour slip stitching, make ones to lefts and rights, just if you ever get confused. Brilliant little book. It's not clunky, can actually carry it around with you quite easily. So I recommend that. What else? Oh, I did a bit of dyeing last week, so I decided I would like a sock yarn that I could start to knit on Christmas Eve. Maybe sooner if I can, but probably not. I would like to start at Christmas Eve because it's my first day off for the Christmas holidays. I'm working, is it the Sunday? Yeah, I'm working the Sunday. You don't need to know this. I'm working the Sundays the day before Christmas Eve. So I would love to cast on a pair of socks Christmas Eve, maybe be able to knit by the fire, take them to the panto. Oh no, we won't. Oh, yes we will. That was bad, but I live for bad jokes, basically. Bad jokes and puns. Brilliant. So yeah, I decided I would do a colourway that was inspired by the Grinch. I will insert onto the screen a little bit of footage of it skeined up in the hank, in a skein. I've already wound it into a cake because that way I've actually wrapped it up in tissue paper and I've unwrapped it for you, hopefully, so there'll be less clinking, crinkling. I've done the noise anyway, sorry. And I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. It surprised me. So it's green, a mixture of light and dark green, very much, I think you'll be able to tell it's very inspired by the Grinch. It's light green, dark green, with lots of red flecks and blue and yellow turquoise speckles. I'm quite excited. Oh dear, we've got neighbours next door. I'm really quite excited to see how this is going to knit up. I've never really had the chance to knit with speckled yarn before. I mean, just because I'm very new to this, and yeah, I really am chuffed with how this turned out. I do think you can tell that it was meant to be inspired by the Grinch. And I think it would be jolly and festive. I'm not sure if what I might do is do the ribbing at the top in this and knit all the way down, see how it turns out, and do contrast toes and then put in an afterthought heel, which I just think it would be really fun to try, you know, different techniques, because I've not tried an afterthought heel before. And I'm not sure if I guess I could do a provisional cast on and then just make the tubes and see how if I want to add contrast ribbing at the top or not. But it seems a bit faffy, so I might just cast it on, do the ribbing in this, stock in a tube, see how I go, and maybe do contrast toes and heels, or just knit them all up in this. So we'll see. But I'm really excited to cast this on, and I thought a Christmas Eve cast on would be a really nice project, you know. That way next year when it gets to Christmas, I can Christmas Eve maybe put these on while knitting up another pair. Yeah, fun. Audrey, you're not that fussed, are you? Bless you. So also I got a little bit of sparkly yarn. Now I'm kind of regretting only doing 2 of this. So if anyone's got any suggestions of what to do with 2 skeins of DK yarn, I feel like I would love this to be a jumper, and it would be quite festive. And I'm a bit disappointed at my festive jumpers, to be honest. I've got a couple that were gifts, which are lovely, but they're Primark. And I kind of avoid fast fashion if I can. I tend to buy everything from a charity shop, including these rather gaudy gingham crop trousers that I'm insisting on wearing, even though it's not the weather, but it's really rather lovely and warm in the house today. Not for any reason, we don't have heating upstairs, it's just as warm. So stop talking. I've dyed up some rather festive, is this gonna come to the right colour? It basically, I feel like this is the ultimate, yeah, it's coming up a lot redder, it's more cherry. Come on, come to mama, come to the right colour. But this is very cherry red yarn, and I feel like this is the ultimate in sort of Mariah Carey red for Christmas. It is sparkly, it's got Selena in it, silver, so I do think it would be really perfect as a Christmas jumper. But I don't think, unless anyone's got any suggestions of 2 skein jumpers, or maybe should I add a bit of colour work to a jumper? Would that work? Would I get, I don't know. But I'm really chuffed with how this came out. This was acid dye only. I think I used citric acid. No, I didn't, because that would have melted it away. I used vinegar for this one, and I gave it a nice little wash. So it actually smells like almost pineapple. I think it, yeah, it smells like pineapple. I can't remember what I used, but I'm really chuffed with this. I think it's nice, nicely variegated. It's like tonal more than variegated, really. Oh, looks all crinkly, but I wondered if you could see the colour better if I, oh, hi Audrey. No, can't really, but maybe I'll try and insert a picture. I'm not going to do this now. I'll insert a picture and maybe, ta-da! Isn't it a gorgeous colour? Hopefully you'll be able to see it better. Yeah, I think that's kind of a good roundup of my week. I'm not sure if I blocked my, you get me? No. So that's about everything, I think. Kind of trying to keep things short and sweet around here. I wanted to maybe take part in Vlogmas because I thought that would be really fun. But I've actually been too busy doing, which is quite nice. Look at you. What are you doing? But I haven't had a chance, so maybe next year. If I'm definitely going to be knitting at this point next year, but you know, whether I'm still talking to the ether or not. Yeah, so I also thought I might do a video at the end of the year talking about all the jumpers that I've made, both crocheted and knitting, just to see the collection, and a video discussing 9 projects, because everyone's doing a MKII this year, 9 projects that I'd quite like to knit up next year. So yeah, I think that's everything. It's been lovely talking to you, and it would be wonderful to see you again very soon. And if I don't, have a wonderful Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever you celebrate, if you celebrate at all, and I hope to see you very soon. Enjoy knitting. Bye!